Right now at 6, Joplin police investigate a recent string of nighttime car burglaries.
And we have an alert day today for the possibility of strong to severe thunderstorms out there. Wind and hail, the primary threats. Take a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Pittsburgh schools look to crack down on the illegal passing of school buses.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. So we've got an alert day today in the Skywatch Weather Center. Strong to severe thunderstorms possible. But we also want to take a moment and remind you of our Hero Fund Telethon taking place at noon, 5, and 6 today.
Yes, exciting. It'll be great.
We did a lot of great stuff with that last year. We're hoping to do even more great stuff with your help this year as well. Absolutely. But as mentioned, we have that alert day that we've got to deal with today. So we're going to start with that. So here's what we're looking at. Strong, possibly severe thunderstorms as we head through the morning and into the afternoon hours across most of the area, but a little further, most of our east, well, I'll show you the map in a moment to show you exactly what we're looking at here. And it could be anywhere between 8 and 4 p.m. Now, I think the best window for stronger storms is going to be a little later this morning, say closer to 10 or 11, but that will continue through at least 4 o'clock. So here's what we're looking at on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. So far, again, in our immediate area, it's knocking on the door of Greenwood and Coffee counties, but otherwise, still outside of our immediate area. The severe thunderstorm watch to our north has expired. They don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings with this activity, but they have had some strong severe thunderstorms through the Kansas City area. That cold front is draped right back behind these thunderstorms, and this is the area that we are watching. As you can see, if you've been with us through the morning, these storms have continued to develop and just kind of increase in coverage this morning. Again, they're not severe yet, but the loop here is going to show us how quickly they've kind of come together. And this is what's going to be rolling into our area, and that's what's going to bring us our possibility of strong to severe thunderstorms. So here's what I was talking about in terms of the areas where it's more likely. We have a low-end tornado risk, mainly in our eastern counties, and then we have a low to slightly elevated hail risk and a low to elevated wind risk because we're expected to warm up a little more ahead of the front, where our northwestern counties, yours about as warm as you're going to get, and that will provide an environment that's slightly more favorable for these storms to be able to intensify later this morning into the early afternoon. 68 in Joplin right now, as well as Pittsburgh, and again, our northwestern communities, Yates Center, Neodesha, Chanute, Iola, Sedan, you're going to reach these highs, and that's probably going to be about it. But again, ahead of that front, we're going to have an opportunity to get a little warmer, get a little more moist air in here, and that's why that severe threat is confined to this section and points southeast. Kids getting on the bus this morning. Ahead of the front, again, 65, mostly cloudy, breezy, south winds gusting to 25. As we get behind that, as we get behind that front, the temperatures are going to drop back there, and we're going to fall into the upper 60s still by the time the bus comes home. But again, if you're behind the front, it's going to be cooler than that. North breeze behind the front as well, but still gusty, pushing 35. Again, highs for most of us around the mid-70s. Some may be a little warmer, some may top out a little cooler, and we'll have those thunderstorms through at least 4, possibly 5 o'clock out there. We're going to talk about the impact on temperatures this front will have and how our weekend is shaping up in the full forecast here in a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, a lieutenant with the Columbus Police Department is charged with child sex crimes. The KBI has arrested a lieutenant with the Columbus Police Department for child sex crimes. KBI agents arrested 55-year-old David Justice of Baxter Springs near his home around 7:15 yesterday morning. Justice faces charges of aggravated indecent liberties with a child, indecent solicitation of a child, and promoting obscenity to a minor. The Columbus Police Department asked the Bureau to investigate allegations against Justice in February of last year. At the same time, the department placed him on unpaid administrative leave from his position of lieutenant. Just before 6 yesterday evening, a head-on crash occurred near Tipton Ford on Gateway Drive that involved 3 Neosho residents. Missouri State Highway Patrol say 22-year-old Joshua Niswanger and 23-year-old Lincoln House both suffered serious injuries. They were struck as a white Nissan crossed the center line. That was driven by 50-year-old Erin Gozin. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Gateway Drive was closed nearly 2 hours as the patrol's major crash investigation unit marked the vehicles before they were removed. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Joplin police say several thefts from vehicles happened throughout the city over the past few days. Among these incidents, a Joplin resident said a person entered his car to steal items from it. The video was recorded by the citizens' home security cameras after 11 Tuesday night. It shows a woman walking in the driveway toward the driver's seat door. The car is unlocked and she opens the door and she moves the items in the center.
I didn't lose anything too important to me, but absolutely lesson learned about keeping the vehicles locked at all times because you cannot trust people.
Thefts from vehicles tend to be crimes of opportunity where criminals will walk down the street and open door handles and they'll enter the vehicles where the doors are unlocked. So make sure to lock your vehicles.
Besides locking your door, police also advise not to leave valuable items in the vehicles and to call 911 if that happens to you. According to the police department, the number of thefts from vehicle reports decreased this year compared to the same period last year. Between January 1st and April 16th of 2023, about 67 cases were reported. This year, there were about 43. Pittsburgh Community Schools is helping the state of Kansas ensure bus safety. The district is participating in the Kansas one-day stop arm violation count survey for the Department of Education. The survey is being conducted to help determine the prevalence of drivers illegally passing school buses.
When a bus comes slowing down, they will add and engage their amber lights. And then the bus will come to a complete stop where they then will activate the red lights, and a stop arm or stop sign will literally come off of the bus with flashing beacons. That is where the stop arm comes from, and that's where the survey is generated.
The state of Kansas reported 676 violations in 2023. That number is down about 23.3% from 2022's 882 violations. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. 911 call outages were reported in several cities in at least 4 different states Wednesday night. Plus, Senate Democrats voted down articles of impeachment against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. And Chris Warner returns with another look at your Thursday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from 24 Gym in Joplin for National Exercise Day.
Scott with Windows for Less. With springtime in mind, if you want the best for less, call Windows for Less.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, 911 call outages were reported in several cities in at least 4 different states last night. The outages are in parts of Nevada, Nebraska, Texas, and the entire state of South Dakota. Multiple officials say texting to 911 is operational, but not using a landline. At least check 911 phone services. At last check, 911 phone services has been restored in the Las Vegas Valley following a 2-hour outage. In Texas, the city of Del Rio said their issue with the carrier and not with the city systems. The South Dakota Department of Public Safety is informing residents to use their non-emergency line in order to reach police. No word yet on what caused the outages. Global warming may be burning a hole in the world's wallet. According to a study published yesterday in the journal Nature, climate issues are expected to cause $38 trillion worth of economic damage by the year 2050. If correct, that translates to a roughly 20% fall in global income over the next 26 years. Researchers say extreme weather can get expensive, with the damage repair needing after severe flooding and raging wildfires. Other weather-related issues like record-breaking heat waves can result in crop losses and less labor productivity. The study argues that the economic drop would lessen if all the nations took part in the Paris Climate Agreement. The United Nations says the Earth will see a rise of close to 3 degrees of warming over the next century. Prosecutors will want to use former President Trump's past legal run-ins against him if he testifies at his New York criminal trial. In a court filing yesterday, prosecutors say they will ask Trump about the recent verdict in the civil fraud trial, including what they say was false testimony. Other items prosecutors say they plan to question Trump about include the defamation case brought by E. Jean Carroll. Another topic will be his namesake company's 2022 tax fraud conviction. His lawsuit against Hillary Clinton that was dismissed for being frivolous and in bad faith was also listed in the court filing. Judge Merchant plans to hold what's called a Sandoval hearing, which will determine the scope of what prosecutors can ask Trump if he takes the stand. Yesterday, Senate Democrats voted down articles of impeachment against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. He became the second U.S. cabinet secretary ever impeached by the House. In a party line vote, House Republicans accused Mayorkas of not enforcing immigration laws and breaching public trust. Democrats slammed the move as a political stunt. It comes as embattled Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson is setting up a vote on separate bills to fund aid for Ukraine and Israel, despite objections from members of his own party. CBS News' Jared Hill has more from New York.
House Republicans' weeks-long effort to oust the Secretary of Homeland Security over in about 3 hours in the Senate.
The article falls.
The Democratic majority rejected 2 articles of impeachment, charging Alejandro Mayorkas with failing to enforce immigration law and breach of public trust.
This whole impeachment was nothing more than a political show.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer argued the impeachment of Mayorkas over policy disagreements sets a dangerous precedent. Senate Republicans pushed back, saying dismissing the charges without a full trial set a dangerous precedent of its own.
Never before in the history of our republic has the Senate dismissed or tabled articles of impeachment when the impeached individual was alive and had not resigned.
Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson said he was disappointed in the Senate's action.
I think it's a violation of their constitutional responsibility.
Johnson's future could sit on shaky ground as he shifts focus to separate bills that would give billions of dollars to Israel and Ukraine. President Biden voiced support for the Ukraine bill.
The Congress has to pass the continued funding. They have to do it now.
Which will likely need votes from Democrats to pass. Some House conservatives have threatened to trigger a vote to oust Johnson over his willingness to reach across the aisle. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is scheduled to testify before a Senate panel today in Washington over the president's budget proposals for his department. And that's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we actually have an alert day in place today. We're watching the possibility of strong to severe thunderstorms as we head through the late morning and into the afternoon hours across the area. Skywatch Storm Tracker in our immediate area is clear, but we're watching thunderstorms continue to develop along the front out to our north and west. Not severe at this point, but these are the storms that we're going to have to watch. Our camera 7th and range line, it is clear in Joplin for the time being, but again, thunderstorms will start rolling in as we head through the day. We'll start seeing them a little later this morning in the Joplin area. Highs today, some of us already there. Others will still make it a little warmer, right around the mid-70s. And then that cold front will push through. We'll have more details on that in your complete forecast here in just a few more minutes on the KOAM Morning News.
Give your home a fresh Kubota of Joplin.
A new movie in theaters this weekend starts off as a crime drama, but quickly becomes something else. David Daniel has a look.
You all came highly recommended.
So whose kid is she?
A very wealthy man who's about to be $50 million poorer.
Joey? Yeah.
I'm sorry about what's gonna happen to you.
Criminals discover they've kidnapped a vampire in Abigail.
A ballerina vampire.
Alicia Weir sank her teeth into the title role.
She pivots from that sweet kid into a monster, and it was genuinely chilling. It was not a gear that we thought existed in that very innocent child.
It was so exciting. Every single day, getting to do things that I mean, it's something that you see crazy things in your dreams, like flying and, you know, going on wire work and being able to, you know, bite people and blood going everywhere and blood cannons.
Blood cannons going off in your face is slightly terrifying. I mean, they guarantee there's no sort of projectiles other than liquid in there, but you never know.
They used to get a paintbrush, but then it got so much blood, the bottle was just like everywhere, just rubbing it all in like lotion almost, and it was everywhere.
I think that's their favorite thing to say is more blood, because I've been doing this for a really long time. I've been covered in blood, but I've never been covered in so much blood.
Blood piles and piles and piles until it's everywhere.
We got so used to it, we kind of liked it by the end.
Yeah.
We had to wash it off every night. Yeah. A lot of shaving foam actually is what gets it off of you.
Shaving foam.
Shaving cream.
Removes
foam.
movie blood.
Mm-hmm.
What can I say? I like playing with my food.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
I'm not typically one for horror movies, but maybe I'll check that out. Maybe you'd like to as well. Well, here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we have an alert day today. The possibility of strong to severe thunderstorms across the area. We'll take another look at that forecast right after this.
Skyway Buick GMC, 808 Illinois Avenue.
Healthier lives.
And welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 622 on this Thursday morning. And we do have an alert day today for the possibility of some strong to severe thunderstorms as we head a little later into the morning and into the early afternoon hours. So here's that cold front. Take a look at these thunderstorms that have fired up along that front. Again, they're not severe at this point, but those are the storms that we're going to be watching as we go through the morning. The bulk of the severe activity had been staying to our north around the Kansas City area, right ahead of that cold front. But we are again starting to see that development take place on the southern end of that cold front now, and it'll continue to push off to the east-southeast across the area and bring us our opportunities for those strong severe thunderstorms. Take a look at this loop. Again, these aren't severe, but you can see how quickly these storms did get together out there and how quickly they got their act together in terms of at least in coverage, but not quite yet in intensity. And there's some reasons for that. One, still a little too early. We're not warm enough really to give these storms that much energy as of yet, at least in our area. However, it's going to warm up ahead of that front for some of us, and that's why the severe threat is going to be a little more confined to the eastern half of our area. So this is where you can see where it is. All right, we've got a low-end tornado risk out there. We also have a low to slightly elevated hail threat and a low to elevated wind threat. And as you can see, it's off in this zone because right now our northwestern counties, so Yates Center, Chanute, Iola, Sedan, these are locations where your high temperatures are about where you are now. You may make a degree or two warmer. The cold front's knocking on your back door. Those temperatures will start to fall as we head through the morning hours. Ahead of the front, though, we've still got gusty south winds. We're expecting a little more warmer air, a little more moisture air to get into this zone here, which is why that severe threat at this point is confined a little further to the east across our area, because that's where we're expecting enough daytime heating to take place, even just in a short window, to fuel potential strong to severe thunderstorms. So here we are at noon. That cold front starting to push through. We've got scattered showers and thunderstorms. Again, some of these could be strong to severe. And then even behind the front, as you see here, we could see a little redevelopment of thunderstorm activity. And if we do, those could potentially be strong to severe as well as that front pushes through. And by about 5 o'clock, the rest of this activity is just about out of here across the area. And we're going to be dealing with north winds on the backside of this and much cooler temperatures as well. But again, the good news is at least the temperatures aren't expected to plummet behind the front, but it's going to get a lot chillier than where we have been here lately and below average. And this is what we're talking about. 68 in Joplin right now. South breeze at 17, gusting to 26. Dew points at 61, humidity's at 78%. Around the area, there's that cold front very clearly defined out there. And this is what I'm talking about here. Yates Center, Neodesha, Chanute, Iola, Sedan, you're in the low 70s. This is likely going to be the maximum temperature you reach. And then it's going to start to cool down. However, out to the east, it's still a little cooler. We've got those gusty south winds, and it's going to warm up. And some locations could make the mid-70s. In fact, some could even reach right around 80. And that's what's going to provide some extra fuel for those storms later this morning into the afternoon. So scattered showers and thunderstorms out there will start rolling through with that cold front. Temperatures, again, ahead of that front, hanging out in the 70s. And for most of us, we're looking at highs averaging about the mid-70s. But again, some of us will be a little cooler, some of us a little warmer. Well, those gusty south winds behind the front, they stay gusty, but they'll just shift out of the north on us. And temperatures will start to fall as we head into the afternoon and evening hours across the area. We'll be mostly cloudy, breezy through the evening and pretty darn cool tonight, back into the mid-40s. So obviously not frost or freeze levels by any means, but much colder than what we've been used to the last few nights across the area. And we're going to stay below average as we head into the weekend as well. We'll have a partly cloudy day tomorrow, breezy, evening showers roll in. We'll have shower chances through Sunday. Not a bad Monday. As we head into next week, our temperatures increase, but so do our thunderstorm chances that we're keeping an eye on as we head into next week as well. Again, no watches, no warnings or anything like that at this time, but we'll be here tracking these storms through the morning and into the afternoon and keep you updated if anything happens to pop up. Let's check your forecast. Now we're going to send it over to Elise with Health Watch.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, a new study in the UK finds that talking about ways to quit smoking during lung cancer screenings can save lives. And half the people who have lung cancer screenings are smokers. So researchers say it's the ideal opportunity to discuss programs and other ways to kick the habit. Deeper sedation may help find it difficult to detect polyps during a colonoscopy. Researchers in Maine found a propofol-based anesthesia is more effective for doctors trying to locate so-called serrated polyps. Those believe the deeper sedation may increase muscle relaxation, allowing for improved inspection of the colon. And the harder your brain works at your job, the less likely you may have memory problems later on in life. That's according to new research published in the online issue of Neurology that shows cognitive stimulation during middle age is linked to a reduced risk of cognitive impairment after the age of 70. The study shows teachers have the highest cognitive demands. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back.
In the heart of Grove, Oklahoma, a new air
restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
Right now at 6:30, the Missouri Department of Natural Resources investigates contaminated groundwater in Carthage.
And we have an alert day today as we head into the late morning and afternoon hours. Strong to severe thunderstorms possible. Wind and hail, the primary threats. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
Plus, Freeman Health System makes some donations to support area nursing students.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. So it is Thursday across the area. We have an alert day today.
Yes,
another round of strong to severe thunderstorms possible across the area.
Yeah, I got to keep an eye on those.
We
stay safe out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, we do want to remind you, rain or shine, our Hero Fund telethon going on as well.
Absolutely. We will be live at our newscast on the noon, at the 5 and at the 6 to take your donations and support, the Hero Fund. It'd be great.
Yeah, get some local first responders, some new equipment, make sure they're taken care of because they spend every hour of every day taking care of us.
Yes, they do.
And we're going to take care of you now with a look at that forecast and our severe threat out there. So we have that alert day today because we're looking at that potential for severe thunderstorms across parts of the area today. And the best window for thunderstorms is going to be between 8 and 4 p.m. But it looks like the best opportunity for those stronger storms is going to be, say, between about 10 and 4 as we head into the late morning and early afternoon hours. So let's take a look. Skywatch Storm Tracker. We've got some thunderstorms starting to enter into Greenwood County, a few showers into Coffee County out there. Thunderstorm over Wichita right now. That's right ahead of the cold front out to our west. The stronger and more severe thunderstorm activity has been confined to our north. Now, no warnings out there with this activity at this point, but they did have a few more storms getting ready to roll through the KC Metro, but they're all extending right along that cold front. And these thunderstorms, while they're not severe, they managed to flare up pretty quickly this morning, and they'll eventually be entering an environment that is a little more sustainable for them. So that's where the severe threat comes in, and this is why the severe map looks like the way it does. So I know you're looking. You've got those thunderstorms getting ready to roll into our northwestern counties. The reason there's no severe threat that far northwest is because right now is about as warm as you're going to get. You're in the low 70s, upper 60s. Ahead of this front, though, we're expecting just enough time to warm up a little more, get a little more moisture in here, and that's why the severe threat is a little further to the east. We do have a low tornado risk for our eastern counties, a low to slightly elevated hail risk, and a low to elevated wind risk out there as this cold front pushes on in. Now, that's not to say we couldn't see a stronger storm or two in the unhighlighted areas. It's just the better opportunities are a little further to the east. In Joplin right now, we are sitting at 68, 67 in Pittsburgh, and temperatures around the area. There's that cold front, and we've got the low 70s across parts of southeast Kansas, and this is probably about as warm as you're going to get. But the further east you go, we're going to have a better opportunity again to warm through the day. Kids getting on the bus, we're looking at 65, mostly cloudy. South breeze gusting upwards of 25. Behind the front, the winds will shift out of the north, still gusting upwards of maybe 35. We'll have some scattered thunderstorms out there, and again, ahead of the front, we'll be in the upper 60s. Behind the front, when this afternoon you're going to be back into the 50s. So again, we're looking at highs right around the mid 70s. Some of us a little warmer, some of us a little cooler, and those thunderstorms should be wrapping up right around 4-5 o'clock today. We'll take another look at your forecast, break down these thunderstorm chances and just how cold it's going to get behind this front here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
Chris, thanks. Well, a group of Kansas County commissioners came to Pittsburgh yesterday to discuss the strategies for growing their counties and helping its residents. The Kansas County Commissioners Association hosted its spring conference at Kansas Crossing Casino. It was a chance for them to learn about budgeting tips, accessing grants, and the appraisal of property values, among other topics.
It can be very lonely being a county commissioner. We all stay in our little county, and every county is different, and so getting together with other counties that are the same size as yours of, how are you spending your money, how are you, benefiting those that are in your county, just different ideas. It's really great to just bounce that off other people that actually know what you're going through.
The conference yesterday included a media panel. KOAM's Tanya Bach was on that panel. The 3-day conference continues on later today. The Missouri Department of Natural Resources is investigating the source of contaminated groundwater in Carthage. The contaminant is a chemical called tetrachloroethylene, or PCE, and was detected in 3 of 12 wells that supply raw water to the Carthage Water and Electric Plant. In 2020, CWEP removed 2 wells most impacted by PCE from the service and deactivated them. The source of the contamination is currently unknown.
A sample in the summer of 2024. We are going to be sampling for tree cores. So we will use off-gassing from tree core analysis to attempt to identify if the plume is shallow or in the deep aquifer.
CWEP treats all combined raw water before it's distributed to the public. PCE has not been detected in liquid waste or sewage water after treatment. Freeman Auxiliary donated $16,000 to area nursing schools yesterday. Representatives from 8 area nursing schools received $2,000 each. The financial support goes a long way to boost the training of tomorrow's nurses.
Gosh, it's so rewarding. I think volunteering in general is so much fun, and I'm just newly elected the president, so I think I'm going to enjoy this part really well.
Every year, Freeman volunteers raise money for the auxiliary through Freeman gift galleries at Freeman West and Freeman Neosho hospitals, raffles, sales, and various other events. All 3 four-staters will head to Tulsa later today for the World Axe and Knife Throwing Championships. The 4-day event features contestants from all around the globe competing for a $60,000 prize. Ben Fowler, Brody Pursley, and Kinson Michael are local throwers ready to put the rest of the world on the chopping block.
2 years ago, I had the opportunity to compete under the lights on ESPN2. I made the U.S. Open quarterfinals, so I have had moments of high pressure in this sort of environment. So channel that energy that I experienced, learn from that, and do my best.
The Main Street Axe Company will be live streaming the event from their Facebook and Instagram pages. Now to look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. The elderly Ohio man accused of fatally shooting an Uber driver last month appeared in court yesterday. And rain chances return. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
The new $1.99 Sonic.
In Consumer Watch this morning, the elderly Ohio man accused of fatally shooting an Uber driver last month appeared in court yesterday. According to the Clark County prosecutors, 81-year-old William Brock pleaded not guilty to all 5 charges, which included murder. Investigators say it started with a scam phone call regarding an incarcerated relative, and the caller then demanded money from Brock. The 61-year-old Uber driver was also contacted to pick up a package from Brock's house. Mike Campbell reports that those who allegedly conducted the scam may also face charges.
The Clark County Sheriff's Office released portions of the interaction between 61-year-old Lolitha Hall and 81-year-old William Brock. It is chilling. Brock threatens her with a gun and eventually they would tussle. Brock received injuries as well, but the timeline and circumstances led prosecutors to believe this was not self-defense. Brock is now facing 3 charges of murder, along with felonious assault and kidnapping. The judge set a $200,000 bond.
We get posted that already in the municipal court, so that was just transferred over. So I'm sure that he is out.
Clark County Prosecutor Dan Driscoll told us Brock could be released by paying 10% of that bond. We checked Brock's rural home but did not see any vehicles in the driveway. We did see several newly posted signs that read "No trespassing, keep out." We reached out to Brock's lawyer and to the family of Lolitha Hall for comment on this latest development. We also asked the prosecutor about the ongoing investigation by the Sheriff's Department into the case and whether the people that allegedly conducted the scam could face legal trouble.
There wouldn't be any reason to investigate if there isn't the possibility of charges, I guess.
One thing that is very clear is that this case is attracting national attention. Nationwide websites and networks like CBS and CNN are all following the story.
The media attention, social media attention is just a distraction. It doesn't change the way a case is handled. It doesn't change the way we prosecute anything.
If found guilty, Brock could get 15 years to life in prison. Boeing whistleblowers testified before Congress yesterday that the aviation giant put profits over safety and discouraged workers from voicing their concerns. One witness said he saw workers jumping on sections of a 777 plane to get components to align during assembly. Boeing has come under scrutiny after a door plug fell off of a 737 MAX 9 plane mid-lift earlier this year. The company has denied the whistleblowers' claims and says it's cooperating with the congressional probe. Ford has issued another vehicle recall, this time for more than 450,000 Bronco Sport SUVs and Maverick pickup trucks. Federal regulators say the vehicles may fail to detect a low battery charge. The recall affects model years 2021 to 2024 for Bronco Sport SUVs and years 2022 and 2023 for Maverick pickup trucks. Owners can get the issue fixed for free at a Ford dealership. That's it for Consumer Watch. Now here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, we have an alert day today for strong, potentially severe thunderstorms out there. They are beginning to fire up along the cold front. Nothing severe or strong at this point yet, but these storms will continue to slide to the south and east and enter an environment that's a little more favorable for strong to severe thunderstorm development out there. And you can see how they've kind of fired up. They're not impressive at this point, but again, they'll continue to roll into air that is a little more supportive of those strong, potentially severe thunderstorms. So as such, we do have a low-end tornado risk, mainly in our eastern counties, and then we have a low to slightly elevated hail risk and a low to elevated wind risk, and these zones are kind of highlighting where the better instability will be and where these storms may pick up a little more strength as we head into the late morning hours across the area and into the early afternoon as well. We are sitting at 68 in Joplin, 67 in Pittsburgh, and as we've mentioned through the morning, our friends out in the northwestern portion of our area, Yates Center, Iola, Chanute, Neodesha, Sedan, you're very likely reaching your high temperatures now. You can kind of see that wind shift line just starting to get in as that cold front rolls in, so that's as warm as it's going to get. That's also why the severe threat's a little more confined off to the south and east, because ahead of the front, we're looking at an opportunity to get just a little warmer and with gusty south winds to bring in a little more instability across the area ahead of that front to allow those storms to strengthen as we head into, the late morning and early afternoon hours. Kids getting on the bus this morning, we are looking at about 65, mostly cloudy, breezy, south breeze, gusting upwards of 25. Behind the front, the winds will shift out of the north and they'll still be gusting, though, upwards of 35 miles an hour. We'll have some scattered storms when that bus brings them home. So again, this is the difficult part when a cold front rolls through the area, because I can't put 18 different temperatures on this. But ahead of the front, we're going to start to fall back into the upper 60s. And behind the front, when that bus comes home this afternoon, you'll already be back into the upper 50s out there. So that's just something to keep in mind. Ahead of the front, again, highs right around the mid-70s. Some may go a little warmer than that. Others may be a little cooler than that, but that's about the average. And once it passes through, the temperatures will begin to drop. We'll deal with these strong, potentially severe thunderstorms through about 4 o'clock, 5 at the latest out there. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. We're going to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries right after the break. But first, here's what's happening on CBS Mornings.
I'm Tony DeCopel. Coming up on CBS Mornings, country singer Brittany Spencer's star was already rising, and then Beyonce came calling. Brittany's going to stop by here to talk about what it was like working with the Queen Bee and seeing her own streams skyrocket virtually overnight. That is coming up on CBS Mornings.
All right, time for those Thursday birthdays here in the 4 states, starting in Columbus with Josh Layson, celebrating birthday number 7. Says happy birthday from your family and your church family.
And in Lamar, Missouri, a happy birthday to Matthew Slickding, who turns 50 today. Happy birthday, Matthew.
And in Neosho, Avery Long, celebrating birthday number 18. Happy birthday, Avery.
And a happy birthday to Bob Reynolds. It says here, the hillbilly from Chanute, who's turning 80 today.
All right, our list continues with Keegan Ellison, celebrating birthday number 14 in Carl Junction. Happy birthday, Keegan.
And happy 84th birthday to Orrin Burris in Nevada. It says from your daughter, Jan, your granddaughter, Danielle, and grandson-in-law, Devin. We love you.
And we've got a 15th wedding anniversary for Brad and Lisa Johnson in Thayer. A very happy anniversary to the Johnson family.
Yes.
Now, we love celebrating birthdays. We love celebrating anniversaries, but this was a very short list. We need it to be considerably longer, Lise. What do they do?
Well, you can go ahead and submit those birthdays and anniversaries to birthdays at KOAMnewsnow.com. Be sure to meet the deadline at the bottom of your screen so we can celebrate you on the correct day.
Absolutely. And today we have an alert day across the area for strong, potentially severe thunderstorms. Now, right now, it's not a lot to look at. We have some showers entering our northwestern counties, a few thunderstorms, nothing strong, nothing severe at this point. They're associated with a cold front. As they continue to shift off to the south and east, they're going to enter a more favorable environment. Strong to severe thunderstorms have been confined up to the north. They got one round through the Kansas City metro earlier. They're getting additional strong storms through the city now, and then we're watching this development along the cold front. Again, right now, not overly impressive, but it's going to start to move into an environment that's a little more favorable for strong to severe thunderstorm development, and we're expecting these storms to intensify as we go late morning and into the early afternoon. As such, we do have a low-end tornado risk primarily across our eastern counties, and we have a low to elevated hail risk and a low to elevated wind risk out there, because again, it's this zone here that's going to be able to warm just a little bit more as we head through the morning and bring in just a little more instability, and that's why the storms are expected to intensify the further south and east that they go. So here's a look at the future track. We go to about noon. We'll have those scattered showers and thunderstorms out there. By this point, that's where we have that opportunity for some strong to severe thunderstorms, especially in this zone here and points southeast, because take a look at Yates Center at noon, 59, whereas ahead of that, this is what I was talking about too, some of you may get close to, if not 80 degrees today, and then we'll see additional thunderstorm development possible behind the front, and even though it's behind the front, it could still potentially be strong to severe out there. And then by about 4 or 5 o'clock, the last of this activity shifting out, we're all behind the front, gusty north winds, much cooler temperatures, and the greater severe threat will start to push on off to our east. Quick look at temperatures. We are sitting at 68 in Joplin. That south breeze gusting upwards of 26. Dew point 61. Humidity is 78%. So again, the environment ahead of that front is much more favorable for those strong to severe thunderstorms. There's that front off to the northwest. So Yates Center, Chanute, Neodesha, Iola, Sedan, most of you are hitting your high temperatures right about now. You're going to start to cool down as that front continues to sink to the south and east. Ahead of it, though, where we're in the 60s, we're going to warm a bit more and get a little more moisture in here and bring in some of that extra extra instability across the area for these storms to potentially intensify. So we're looking at scattered thunderstorms through the morning. The best opportunity for these stronger storms is going to be from 10 a.m. to about 4 p.m. And we're going to have temperatures hovering in the 70s again ahead of the front. And that's the difficulty, is this is data for ahead of the front, because most of us will spend the day ahead of the front before it starts to roll in this afternoon. So highs mid-70s, again, some of us a little warmer. And then out to the northwest, again, Yates Center, Iola, Chanute, where that front comes through, we're looking at temperatures topping out where they are now. So by the afternoon, you're looking at afternoon temperatures into the 50s. We're having a look at your forecast. Take a look at that extended forecast. Talk about what this cold front's going to do to us temperature-wise here in just a moment. And when we make the transition to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., 2 New York State troopers went above and beyond to help a couple deliver their baby in a parking lot. We'll have that story.
Well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The KBI arrested 55-year-old David Justice, a lieutenant with the Columbus Police Department, for child sex crimes yesterday morning. Justice faces charges of aggravated indecent liberties with a child, indecent solicitation of a child, and promoting obscenity to a minor. The Columbus Police Department asked the Bureau to investigate allegations against Justice in February of last year. Joplin police say several thefts from vehicles happened throughout the city over the past few days. Police advise you to lock your car and to not leave valuable items in the car, and to call 911 if that happens to you. And we invite you to join us today for our Hero Fund USA telethon. And during our noon, 5 and 6 p.m. newscast, we'll have volunteers standing by to take your calls and donations. All the money raised will support Hero Fund USA, which partners with local first responders to provide them with equipment and safety resources. You can also donate through our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. And that's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And again, we have that alert day today. Strong, potentially severe thunderstorms by late morning. So again, between about 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. We're also going to be breezy. South winds gusting upwards of 25, 30 miles an hour. They'll shift out of the north behind the front. Ahead of the front, highs mid-70s, maybe a bit warmer than that. Behind the front, you're heading the highs right now. You'll be in the 50s by this afternoon. Heading through the evening, we'll be done with the storms through the evening. Mostly cloudy, still breezy, much colder than where we have been, down to 45. Below average temperatures heading into the weekend. Shower chances tomorrow evening continue through Sunday. We start to warm up next week just in time for an additional round of thunderstorms as we head Tuesday through Friday next week.
All righty. Thanks, Chris. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making weeknight Salisbury steak in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. Country singer Brittany Spencer is joining them live in studio ahead on CBS Mornings. She's going to tell us how her life has changed since Beyonce came calling and asked her to sing 2 tracks on her country album, Cowboy Carter.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, a group of dogs rescued from the Israel-Hamas war are now finding forever homes right here in the U.S.
Plus, Captain William Davis of the Joplin Police Department will be here in the studio to talk about the importance of a public safety telecommunicator.
Yes, 911 dispatcher.
Yes, that's a very, very fancy term. Yes. But they do play a very important
Absolutely.
role.
Often unsung heroes.
They absolutely are. They're the ones you don't see when you have an emergency or serious situation.
Absolutely.
That's going to wrap it up for us for now. Of course, we'll continue to track the storms as we head through the morning, and we'll be back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.